Hello everyone, here's an OP VEX build in Borderlands 4 with an updated and really fun to use weapon with the Bonnie and Clyde. You don't need this weapon for it to be effective, but you can see here you can absolutely ragdoll bosses. And the cool thing about this weapon is it's got both an assault rifle and a shotgun. It can switch between them quickly. I want to do a bit of a thematic weapon build because I think the Bonnie and Clyde Jakobs weapon works fantastically here. Now, it has a rather small magazine size, but it fits perfectly within the green skills tree for VEX because you can keep infinite ammo uptime as you saw there. This is the Pair of Thieves, and they recently buffed this. It used to be a plus 100% damage. It's now a plus 150% damage, as well as giving it a 50% overall damage buff. This is insane now. The Bonnie and Clyde, as you saw there, can shred through bosses, both mobbing and bosses, really fast. Now, we don't need to use that, though. The bot is incredible on here. Wombo Combo, TK's Wave, your Hot Slugger, the usual suspects. Some purples and blues are great too. Bory SMGs. We can use the Leeching Attunement here, or you can go with the right-hand side and go on a kill skill focus build and then use this to activate kill skills on critical hits, which is really powerful. But I really like going in on the bleed here to give ourselves insane amounts of lifesteal, which in turn then becomes Blood is Power and gives us a bunch of extra damage. Now, one fun thing about this, if you prefer to use Trouble, you can actually use it for mobbing. It's actually pretty good. I do prefer using the Incarnate here, but we can take just the red action skill and go all in on the green skill tree, although I will be taking a skill into here. The first one is the decision between the Leeching Attunement if you want to use kinetic-based weapons. Now, I want to put a little asterisk here because some people don't like using kinetic weapons. You don't have to fully use them. My preferred preference is using 2 kinetic and 2 elemental weapons because you keep the attunement for 6 seconds after activating it. So if you have your kinetic-based weapon out, which is just something with no elements, and then swap to your fire or shock weapon, it'll get the Leeching Attunement, which is 10% lifesteal, and the additional reload speed for 6 seconds afterwards. So it actually can work if you keep swapping through your weapons. However, some people don't like using it, and then you're going to want to use the right-hand skill tree here. So I'm going to go with the Leeching Attunement here, levels 1 through 5, giving us the bleed. At this point, you can take the Energy Vampire. Geist Wave is decent too, which will make the enemies take a bit more damage. But I like to then continue with the Bloodletter here, giving us the chance to bleed. Bleed is still really good despite being nerfed a bit, and I still think bleed will be actually really good going into the DLC. One great thing about this is the Bonnie and Clyde deals insane damage, and that 150% damage buff actually applies onto our bleed, and that's what makes this build so powerful. Then we're also going to take the material components, which gives us the increased kinetic and kinetic status effect damage. 35% extra kinetic damage is nice because that's something we're going to be dealing a lot of. Now, at this point, we're going to want to take our best augment with Witchy Trigger Finger. The others are okay, but it's hard to not want to use this. This will give you gun damage boost per stack, which is crazy. That's not even the main reason we want this. It gives us our ammo back. So you saw there, you can spam this skill while you have your weapon out, and you're never going to run out of ammo unless you're using a gun with a very small magazine. It's extremely good. After that, I'd recommend coming over to the right-hand skill tree, and Ars Arcana here is extremely good. It also got buffed, now 45% skill damage. Skill damage means bleed as well. The difference between skill damage and action skill damage is action skill is only our action skill, whereas skill applies to Bloodshot, it applies to bleed, it applies to the Radiant Attunement if we were to take the left-hand side here. So it's a really good buff. 45% extra damage is great. Now, I would recommend actually at this point to continue with the Essence Leech. So this gives us lifesteal, and this is now at 10%. And when our action skill is active, that's 20%. That's really good. So we want to have this active because we're going to get a lot of lifesteal back. And with the Teen Witch class mod, we're unkillable, like literally. You can use Bloodshot. I don't find it works great with this build, but it can work. And this is almost better with the Blood or the Undead Eye class mod. Now, we really want to take Blood as Power, so gain bonus kinetic damage with guns based on our current lifesteal when our health is full. So we have 10% from our class mod, 10% from here, and then 20% when our action skills damage. 40% of our damage is lifesteal. And then 300% of our lifesteal ends up making it 1.2 times our gun damage as bonus kinetic damage. This is really good. This gives us a huge boost to our DPS. And to get this damage out there a lot quicker, I'd recommend taking Drink Full. This will give us increased gun damage. I like also taking Keen Mind, giving you 15% critical hit chance against any part of enemies, but honestly, from testing, I found that Drink Full actually works a little bit better, giving us increased fire rate per stack. This just lets us put our damage out quicker. You do have to be mindful, though, that some guns will actually run out of ammo quicker than you can use Witchy Trigger Finger to get them back. So just a heads up on that, because you want to get your ammo back from this, but sometimes this will make certain weapons fire a bit too quickly. I also like to take Phase Pocket because this gives us a 30% increase in magazine size. Paired with the increased fire rate, this is kind of something we want to put together. And at this point, I think it's best to go into the red skill tree. Now, we have Blood is Magic from our class mod, which gives us increased action skill damage the higher our health is, which is great, but this will give us bonus kinetic damage with guns when our action skill is active. Now, this means when Trouble is active and you have it going around doing its ability, or whenever we have this active doing our kinetic blast, which we're going to do often. So this is just flat out bonus 37.5 kinetic damage, which is great. Bonus damage is much better than just getting a boost to our damage, so we want that because it applies all the extra modifiers that we have to boost kinetic damage, like this one here. Now, at this point, there's two choices, I guess. We have 8 points left. Conjunction, which will give us increased gun damage 30% at full shield, and then damage reduction when we're at lower health, which can give us actually some pretty good survivability. That's 50% damage reduction when we get lower in health. Not always going to be the most damage reduction, but we can use a rep kit that gives us tank 50% extra damage reduction, and then Timekeeper's new shield. And you can pair this together. You don't get 100% damage reduction. It kind of scales downwards, but you can become really tanky, especially with our life steal. You can go with this, and then we can also go with 3 stacks or 5 stacks and put 3 stacks here of the Grave Vitality. So this is a kill skill. Whenever we take out enemies, we're going to get increased health capacity. This is really good because this gives us more wiggle room basically to attack with. And then we can also use the Timekeeper's new shield. It doesn't really apply perfectly to the Timekeeper's new shield. It's your pre-shield health, but that can work well too. By far the best class mod is Team Witch. This gives us overshield and lifesteal onto our shields, which is crazy. This one also came with lifesteal 10%, which they all will come with, but this one also came with shield capacity. You want to find it with the Grave Thirst. Now, the red skills is the best. This is probably my favorite role because we get Grave Thirst, which then gives us more lifesteal for a duration when we get kills. So that's an extra 9% lifesteal, which again, then gives us extra bonus kinetic damage, which is crazy. So we scale up our damage even further using that. Then we have the Corporeal here. Our minions will gain increased overshield capacity and overshield duration for us and ourselves. And we also get 18% bonus damage dealt when we have overshield, which we're always going to have. So I like that. And then a few points of blood magic. If you can get 3 in Grave Thirst and 3 in this, that's pretty good, but it's hard to roll that. As mentioned, you can use the Undead Eye, but I do find it's best to use something like the Teen Witch here. There's other ones that you can get green skill rolls, but I don't find those to be as good. Now, one shield that works extremely well here is a Super Soldier. I don't normally run this on VEX, but I think it works great here because the ammo regeneration fits perfectly with the Bonnie and Clyde. The shotgun has 5 rounds, and it'll constantly reload 1 of them per second. So you can keep that up infinitely without having to use your witchy trigger finger ability. But you can also use the Watch for Dinner for a huge boost to our damage. 25 extra shock damage on top of our normal damage is really crazy. Because again, that's bonus damage for extra damage. You can also go with the Amp here. The Amp's really crazy. Especially, this is probably the best roll that you could possibly get for a Watch for Dinner because we get 25% bonus damage, and then we also get 150% extra gun damage. This is going to give you crazy damage. You can use the Super Soldier, though. This will be higher DPS. The Blind Box, I like this one for the bounce pass on Jakobs guns because it allows our Bonnie and Clyde to bounce another time. This one also has gun and equip speed increase, which is nice if you want to swap it around to multiple elements. And then the gun critical hit damage, assault rifle critical hit is increased with that, which greatly increases that. Enhancements are impossible to farm, so just use whatever you got. Vladoff is good too. I really like the Vladoff because this one will give you increased fire rate and magazine size, and Vladoffs will shoot an additional projectile. And for Ordnance, Slippy's great for doing melee damage and being able to, if you get one with lifesteal, that can be great too. Waterfall, always going to be a good grenade. You can use like a litter here, which is a pretty good rocket. And critical hit knife, always going to be a good choice. I also like to use some other types of grenades too, like I guess Scully, a new one's kind of fun, not really that great, but it's a choice. Our Repkits are really important for VEX. Now this one I really like. Enrage gives us 30% extra damage, and all damage taken is increased by 15%. You can use the Amp one, and Amp with this Amp here is absurd. So this will give you heals, and then give 200% damage to your next shot. If you're using the Looming Dullahan with an underbarrel, you can one-shot a lot of bosses using that. It's really good. But I also like the tank. Damage taken minus 50% with lifesteal, you're unkillable for 10 seconds. And this has infinite uptime. You can keep using it because of 16-second cooldown. You get cooldowns back on kills, and you have 3 charges. It's crazy. And then this triple bypass with 30% lifesteal is also really nice because, again, lifesteal gets added to our extra damage. So we can do some pretty absurd damage numbers if we use this one as well. Yeah, it's really good. Now for weapons, I want to focus this one around the Bonnie and Clyde because it's a fantastic weapon. The shotgun and the assault rifle swap is really fun too. Great damage, and that buff is nuts. So you want to basically take out an enemy whenever you kill a target with the assault rifle, swap to the shotgun, it refills its magazine, just keep swapping back and forth. Now for our, I guess, other backup weapons, DK's Wave, fantastic because it's Jakobs as well. I like the Wombo combo for Vile enemies. You don't have to use it, but great for Vile, and you can also swap back to the others. I also really enjoy the bod is always good because this can basically take out any enemy in the game with the infinite ammo because the Torgue Lace and Stickies will do crazy damage. You can also get Torgue Stickies on some of the other guns here too, like K-Osin, which works really well on. I always like the Stray sniper rifle, auto aim. You don't have to really pay too much attention. You just hold down your trigger and it'll hit enemies. The Stellium here with a energy disc underbarrel can be really effective as well. I have another Bonnie and Clyde here, which has the same ammo size, but mine has way higher DPS, 69 DPS versus 5.7k. I also really like the 7 Sense here. The 7 Sense is a fantastic gun. It's Jakobs, and it has the proprioception, which does orbs, which will blow the enemy up really good. For firmware, if you can get high caliber, 3 of them. I don't have the firmware properly set up right now, but bullets will pierce enemies, which is really good. And then also the Dead Eye 2, which will give you increased critical hit damage. And for specializations, you don't have to have a very high level, around level 40 or 50 will be great. The best defense for the increased 30% damage dealt when at full shield or health is really good. Now with caffeine, the most essential part here, action skill cooldown whenever a Repkit is activated, 25%. So that means with the triple bypass, you basically get your action skill back immediately. We also got rid of you this for the 50% extra gun damage. That's really good. And then also the I am a gun, which will add our gun damage increases to our action skills since we're going to be using the Eldritch Blast. Or if we were using the Trouble, you also have Trouble's extra damage boost there too. And here it is. So jumping right in his face. You can see the damage is really high on that. I didn't even activate my action skill here to get our ammo back, but you can activate it. That wave will give you your ammo back too. So just go for obviously headshots there because the damage is crazy. I find this gun has a really good pushback too. So you want to get into a flow of shooting your shotgun and then spamming your Eldritch Blast there so that you just continuously keep having ammo here. Obviously aiming for headshots for the critical hits will be better. I don't have the damage buff active right now. And here's the assault rifle with the damage buff. There we go. That actually showed off how good this is. And there it is again, absolutely decimating a boss in 2 seconds. And here's the shotgun. Not getting headshots. Of course that happened. The assault rifle, you can get much better luck with it there. So I'll just pop the action skill there. It's obviously a lot better if you can get the double damage from being able to swap between them. The shotgun is really good. I'm just not getting the best of it on video here, but you can see that it also ragdolls really easily. I also like the 7 cents here, so you can mash it there and get crazy damage after you reload. You can see it's actually shredding his health very fast. In 3 reloads, we've been able to finish him off there. So yeah, nuts. And that is what I think to be one of the most overpowered Vex builds in Borderlands 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed. I hope you have a great day, and we'll catch you all in the next one.